Good evening and welcome to the March 2014 edition of Curriculum Connection. I'm Medford's Curriculum Director, Laura Lundy. Tonight we will focus on the new state testing requirements for Wisconsin high school juniors, the ACT test. Although the acronym of ACT stands for American College Testing, earlier this month it could have stood for All Children Tested, as every junior in the state of Wisconsin was required to take the ACT test on March 3rd and take the ACT Work Keys test on March 4th. The ACT, which was given on the first day of testing, has been around for decades and is typically used as a college entrance exam. The ACT Work Keys, which was given on the second day, is a newer assessment, and its results can be used by employers to select qualified employees. Administering the ACT on March 3rd and 4th created many more logistical problems than any other test given in the past. Guidance counselor Talia Kamp-Isaac explains.
I think specifically the ACT just has so many more specifications of how the test has to be run, the day, the parameters for the students, the paperwork, all of that. So you had that, in addition you had the whole student population, which typically you had just tested part of that group. And then the other part that was kind of tricky is we also had the rest of the student body to work around those specifications and parameters. So I think that made it different than most of the other tests that we've done.
Many options were considered when trying to plan for these 2 days, and in the end, it was decided to find alternative options for freshmen, sophomores, and seniors to do on the first day of testing, instead of holding classes as normal, and then holding class as usual on the second day. On the first day, out of 470 students, 21 students attended the planned field trip to Camp Forest Springs, and 66 students chose to rotate through fun and educational stations on the far end of the high school. However, the most popular choice, tipping the scales at almost 400 students, was for parents to keep their child at home. During the second day of testing, all students were in school and classes were held as normal. This decision was made because the ACT Work Keys is less high stakes and took less time. After going through both testing days, room supervisors felt that the plan worked well.
I was very impressed with how serious they took it both days, that they did everything we asked them to do. There were no disruptions. There was no, I didn't hear of anyone that said, I'm not going to do it, or just wrote down answers. Which was encouraging.
My kids were some of the special ed kids, but you know, they have hopes of going to college, and so they worked hard. They really did work hard and tried their best, and I give them a lot of credit for that.
Even though students took both tests seriously, the nature and level of difficulty of the ACT versus the Work Keys was apparent.
That the very nature of the exams were so significantly different that yesterday was pretty high stakes. Some of these kids, if they do well on the ACT exam, there's money available in scholarships and admission to universities, whereas this one was more of an interest inventory aptitude type of test, and it wasn't as intense.
They all also commented on how much easier today's test was over yesterday's. But I saw every one of them bust their tail on every test.
The Medford area Senior High has been working to infuse ACT skills within their math, science, social studies, and English classes for the past few years. Because of this preparation, social studies teacher Bill Dallas feels that students appeared to be ready.
I didn't hear any comments about, oh, there was too much, or those reading passages were too hard, or we didn't expect that. It was as though they knew that that was what it was going to be, so that surprise factor was gone. So they had been through similar experiences.
The juniors I interviewed agreed.
I felt like we've done it before in English because we went through practice quizzes and tests a couple days before.
Like some classes we were more prepared for than others. Science I felt really prepared for.
Although prepared, students said there were parts that did challenge them, like the short time allowed to finish.
Because I felt rushed. Like I felt like I didn't have enough time to read it and answer the questions and comprehend it, because we had 30 minutes to complete 45 questions and 4 big passages to read, so I didn't think I had enough time.
I didn't space myself out well enough because it was 75 questions in 35 minutes.
On the flip side, students interviewed thought the ACT Work Keys was easy.
I thought the Work Keys was a breeze compared to the ACT.
Yeah.
It was just all basic skills. It wasn't like, you didn't really have to like think about it. You just had to confirm information.
I thought it was definitely way easier, like a lot easier.
Just like before, juniors still have the option to retake the ACT if they don't like their scores. However, the next test they'll have to pay for.
Depending on what it is, if it's way lower than what I want, I will retake it, definitely.
students won't receive their scores for another few weeks. However, students and staff believe that this accomplishment should already be put in the win column due to the way that everyone pulled together to achieve this monumental feat. For Curriculum Connection, I'm Laura Lundy.